Good afternoon. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You may find us also on television, Channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, the netcasters.com, the newscasters.com. But again, thank you so much for watching. Any ideas for shows or just some research you would like for me to do for you, I'll be glad to do that. You can send, and I love doing research, so this is right up my alley. You can send an email to Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. Thank you so much for watching. The last show, just a few minutes ago, we were talking about how to get your garden ready for your next spring, but getting it ready in the fall for next spring. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Is a huge one right here. A lot of us learned our lesson, had some weird things happening in our gardens last year because we had this really weird surprise frost that happened. We had this, and remember, right before Christmas, and it was really cold in Thanksgiving, and then we had this surprise little frost, and it killed all of our little blooms on our trees and things that we had growing outside. But I found this article, homesandgardens.com, homesandgardens.com, how to protect plants from frost. I've got 10 quick and easy methods on doing that. This way we're not going to be caught as a surprise like we did last year. Now, not all plants in the backyard will need protection from the frost, but there are certain categories that will. So let's go ahead and talk about those. You've got young seedlings and new growth, tender perennials, half-hardy varieties, tropical and subtropical plants like your palms and your banana plants. Now, I was got to tell you, with the banana plants, go ahead and take those big leaves off right now while they're green and put them in your lasagna garden. You know what a lasagna garden is now. You start out with something, maybe some cardboard, something brown. You put something green on top of it. Those banana leaves are huge and they're wonderful for a lasagna garden, and put something brown back on it again. Now, signs of frost damage even blackened, distorted, or limp growth, and the leaves turning green on evergreen and shrubs. That's going to be your signs of frost damage. Now, if you're in doubt of any sort, research the conditions and hardiness of specific plants and err on the side of caution. Include frost protection in your winter garden ideas. Now, if cold weather is forecast in your state or your area, and everybody has their own zone, so folks are watching all over the country the show. So we're in the southern part, we're in Alabama, so it's like deep south here. Okay, we have hot weather. As a matter of fact, we took a trip to San Antonio, Texas, and and everybody there is so friendly and so sweet. So this lady started talking to us, and she said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Alabama." And she said, "Oh, it's hot here in Texas." And I said, "Actually, it's hotter in Alabama. That humidity almost kills you." And she said, "I've heard that." So anyway, absolutely true. But you need to know what your zone is. So you can go to Google or whatever you use to do your search engine with, and just type in USDA and just type in gardening zones, and you'll be able to find yours. And there's all kinds of information going from the USDA website that you can find on your particular area. Because what we do here, you'll not do up in Minnesota. So, things are just a little bit different in all different parts of the country. Now, in terms of vegetable crops, there are some that actually benefit from a dose of frost and can taste even better afterwards. I can't wait for it to frost on my kale. It's going to taste even better. We love kale salads and all that kind of good stuff. But there are some veggie crops that are frost tolerant, not all frost resistant. Okay, so if you live in a colder zone, it is therefore worth reading how to grow kale and other frost-tolerant vegetable crops. Okay, number one, they're going to tell us right now, and that is to bring those potted plants indoors. You need to do that pretty soon, okay? There are many quick ways and tips on how to protect plants from frost, and among the easiest is to bring those potted plants indoors, especially those tender container plants. Now, potted plants are more susceptible to frost damage because they don't have the insulated benefit of those that are planted inside the ground. That's why bring them in. If you use a conservatory garden room, garage, or a porch, you can use that, or your frost-free greenhouse to overwinter potted plants. Not somewhere that's too warm, though. Now, we'll tell you certain plants, some of my perennials actually do better when I throw them in and I think they're dead. I'll go ahead and throw them in the greenhouse, and it gets like really, really hot in there. And so you'll think they're gone, okay? And they'll start turning brown, the limbs are going to break off, little leaves are going to look terrible and all that kind of stuff. But in the summertime or in the springtime, when we start getting that pretty, pretty sunshine that starts getting warmer, you'll start seeing those little sprouts come out. That's new life coming in, and that's absolutely fabulous. Okay, now add a layer of mulch on your garden beds. Now this is very similar to what we talked about in the last show on getting ready in the fall for your spring garden. You want to apply dry mulch like chipped bark or straw around borderline hardy plants like your Cape fuchsia, so many things. In other words, anything that may have a crown on it. Make sure you do that. You can also use leaf mold or piles of leaves to add some extra protection on your garden beds and provide a barrier against the cold. And what we do, we collect our green grass. And so we make green tea, which is an awesome, awesome fertilizer. By the way, you can't buy it that good. Now, we'll tell you, don't stand downwind of it, okay? It really smells terrible. It does smell like cow poop. I mean, it really does. So this is what we do. And it's got to be freshly cut green grass. So you'll probably have another time or two for green grass. Go ahead and do it now so you can get it ready for the springtime. So what you'll do is you'll find a big plastic bucket, and you want to fill it about 3/4 of the way with grass. Green grass that's just been cut, okay? I'm out there waiting on Phil to dump it out on the ground so I can throw it in a bucket. Then what you'll want to do is fill it up with water, okay? And it's going to let it set. The longer, they say 2 weeks, but now I'm just telling you, the longer it sets, the absolute better, the more potent it's going to be. Then it's going to be better than Miracle-Gro, and it's going to cost you nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. And just a little bit of water that you put in there and a little bit of time. Make sure you cover it really well, and then wait a few weeks, and then you'll use like an old curtain or something like that, something that's got a thread to it where you can catch as much of the grass as possible, and then you'll squeeze that out just like you would a tea bag. And so it's just a big giant tea bag, and it is grass tea, and it's wonderful, wonderful for your garden. So go ahead and do that. That's another thing you want to plan for that spring garden. Okay, now another thing that you'll want to do is cover plants with fleece. And so that's what we're talking about. Now it could be an old sheer curtain. It doesn't have to be fleece. It could be anything. If you wonder how to protect those plants from frost when they're planted in the ground, well, one method is useful for a larger garden plant and shrubs is to cover them with a horticulture of fleece. You can also use blankets. You can do bubble wrap too. You can just create a protective cover. And now these are from Amazon, and they come highly recommended by reviewers. When I buy something online, first thing I do is look at people who reviewed it and what they have to say about it. But I'm just telling you, my grandmother had stashed away some old curtains. They're old cotton curtains, and she used them almost like a sheer curtain, and then she had her curtains, of course, over that. So I just couldn't throw them away. And so I have them, and I cleaned them really good, and stored them. And then I told Phil, I said, that's what we're going to use them on. We're going to use them on the green tea, the tea from the cut grass. And it worked like a charm. They were really big, and they were stout. You can use cheesecloth, but the only thing about cheesecloth is not when it's something that big. You need something that's going to be a little more substantial than that. Now, if you wonder how to protect your plants from frost when they're planted in the ground, one method useful is for larger garden plants and shrubs is to cover them with that fleece. Okay, so that's number one. We know we want to do that. Now, you can use this method for the fleece or just old curtains or whatever you want to do. Try to do the white ones. That would be much better if you have white ones. And then place several stakes around your plants, and then cover these with this material to create a tent-like structure. What I like to do is get a couple of limbs or just some old pieces of wood. We're always doing stuff around the house. This is like the money pit in this house. We're constantly spending money, so I don't throw away any wood. And so you can make a little tent, just kind of stick to a couple of 3 stabs or 4 stabs into the ground, and then put that fleece on top of that plant, and then put some blocks or something under it, and it's going to stay on there. It's going to help with the frost. And we're going to do that with all of our trees this year. Yeah. I miss my peaches now. I do miss them. Just glad I put some up last year. Fleece is very effective, but if you prefer something less obtrusive, a circle of wire netting filled with bracken or leaves will keep the cold at bay too. Now you can also wrap the trunks of young trees with horticultural fleece or blankets, such as if you're growing some of the best fruit trees or you've mastered how to grow lemon from seed. I want to learn how to do that, how to grow lemon from seed. Okay, we got time? Yeah, let's go on ahead and go to number 4 here, and that's place tender plants in a sheltered spot. Make sure you do that. So the mantra, right plant, right place, is relevant when considering how to protect plants from frost. Now, always plant half-hardy and frost-tender plants in a sheltered position, preferably near a south or west-facing wall. This will absorb that heat during the day. It also will radiate it at night. So eliminating the wind chill factor can substantially reduce the amount of frost damage incurred. Now remember, let's go over this again. You want to plant half-hardy and frost-tender plants in a sheltered position, preferably near a south or west-facing wall. Again, that's going to absorb the heat during the day and radiate it at night. So that's what we have back there in our garden back in the back. Now, once sheltered positions will include next to fences. That's a good area too. Or under large evergreen trees for gardeners. And other protection would be like your patio, courtyard areas, as long as you have those things have plenty of sunshine. But a lot of sun coming in. Now, while a sunny, sheltered spot is ideal for many tender plants, do not place early flowering plants like your magnolias or your camellias that are exposed to the morning sun. Now, the rapid thawing of frost buds can result in blackening and bud drop. And this is according to Guy Barter. He's an horticultural expert. So we got to listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. Let's go into a commercial break, and we shall return in just a few minutes. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Okay, we're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You may find us on television, Channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. If you can't catch us then, live, you can also find us anytime you want to on all of our social media pages, which includes Facebook and YouTube and all those things. X. Used to be Twitter. You can find us on that as well. Again, thank you so much for watching. We're talking about how to prevent your garden from being damaged during frost. In the South, we never know when it's going to hit. We have had frost hit as late as right at Christmas or maybe even after Christmas. But boy, this past year, we sure were surprised. We got it really super early, super quick, and super fast. So let's talk about number 5. Right here, and this is to lift and store tender perennials. So let's talk about that for a minute. You got some potatoes and stuff growing, so those tender perennials that have bloomed and died down can be lifted to protection from frost. What you want to do is store the roots, the bulbs, the tubers, and the corms in a cool but frost-free place, such as potting shed or maybe a greenhouse. Now there's lots of mini greenhouses that you can shop for at Amazon. That's where I got mine. Also at Walmart, and you should have a few tender perennials to protect. Now this is a suitable method on how to winter dahlias and how to overwinter begonias. All right, now let's talk about number 6, and I'll tell you, I've got an idea right here on this one. Okay, so see those cones right there? It's almost like a piece of glass. You can go to Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop, or you can go to any thrift shop you want to, and a lot of times you'll find these little cake covers. Maybe it doesn't have the dish to it, but it has the glass top to it. It's like a dome. Get those. Or maybe some old glass bales for something that's smaller. That is the perfect thing to do. So if you're wondering how to protect plants from frost in the vegetable patch, that is the best method. Or just go to a thrift store and find any kind of a dome will do, okay, as long as that heat can penetrate on it and you're not going to get a whole bunch of frost on that plant. Now, it can also be used, by the way, to protect your seedlings and those smaller plants from frost. Now, they're bell-shaped covers, And they're made from glass, or it can be plastic as well, and it can be placed over the plants. Now you can buy these or even make your own out of recycled projects. And let me tell you something you can do. Those 2-liter cola bottles are perfect for that. So what you'll do is you'll cut those off, where it sticks up, it's 2 liters, it sticks up about like this, and then at the very top part right up there, you can tear that off, the part that the spout comes out of, and use that spout for something else. By the way, you can use that for watering in your garden as well. And it almost works as in the really, really hot summers when we're not having a whole lot of rain. You can use those, turn them upside down, and when it rains, it's going to fall into that little spout, and it'll go down into the roots of your plants. Now, the part that we cut off, turn that upside down, and it's like a dome shape that's going to go over those plants. And so that's how you can protect it for like almost nothing. Or go to the thrift shop and see what you can find out there as well. Now cut off those large, they're following me on this, okay? Although they say the large plastic bottles or your milk containers can be turned into homemade to embed the soil around small plants. And again, you can use plastic as well. I use a lot of vinegar because I have asthma. And so I can't use regular cleaning products. Anything that has a chemical in it, I won't have a show to host for several days. I won't be able to do it. So that's why every time I clean something, I use baking soda and also use vinegar. And so save those. And what you can do is cut off the part where the handle is, flip him upside down, and look at that, voila, you've got something that's going to protect those plants in case you get a frost. Okay, let's see, remove them during the day so that the plants can benefit from the warmth and the energy of the sun. But this is what you do at night, okay? Now, see how much time I've got. Okay, we're still doing good. Okay, let's see. Now, these things are ideal to use with young vegetable crops that are sown in the fall, like your broad beans, your spinach, your scallions, or your spring onions, and your asparagus. So I'm going to plant some onions, okay? And then I'm going to put some of those things on top of it. Again, when it's pretty and sunny outside, it's still a little bit cold, but it still needs the sunshine, okay? So take those off. Okay, let's talk about this one right here, is moving the plants to a cold frame. So look at that frame back there. Okay, now you see the glass tops, looks like little cakes, little tops that went to cakes. Again, you can use glass or plastic. So this is a good idea right here. So young hardy annuals that are sown in fall may also benefit from some protection from frost. So place them in the shelter of a cold frame over winter, although ensure they have good ventilation on warmer days, because if you don't have the ventilation now, what's going to happen is it's going to get too hot in there, it's going to be too humid, and that's going to kill them. So place them in that shelter over winter, although again, ensure they've got good ventilation. You can also make your own cold frame if you don't already have one. To make your own temporary cold frame, bend slender metal rods into loops. Now you can also use some wire coat hangers. Insert the ends of the metal loops into the ground, either side of the row of crops or plants. Lay a sheet or clear plastic over the frame and secure it in place to protect those plants below. It's all kinds of stuff you can do. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to do this. I know my grandparents to get old sheets and put it out over the garden, or maybe get old sheets and put it out over a tree. I mean, there's so many things you can do that don't cost anything to do. That's why I don't throw away a lot of stuff. Now you can go to Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop, and you can also find some old sheets and things if you don't have those available. Okay, now number 8, water plants in the morning. It's extremely, you do it in the morning. Okay, let me tell you why. Okay, so you probably wouldn't think that your routine for watering plants could make a difference when considering how to protect plants from frost. But in fact, it can help support any protective measures that you take. It's best to water plants in the morning during winter and when there is a risk of frost, because wet soil actually absorbs heat during the day, and it actually has an insulating effect. Who would have thought that? Yeah. So it kind of works and shields as a barrier. Now in your spring and in your summer garden, you can do either early morning or late evening. Whatever works best for you, whatever works best with your schedule. But again, in the winter months, in the fall months, when it's getting really, really cold outside, it's best to do it in the morning. Okay, let's talk about wrap containers. And I've got a photo for you to look at right there. Isn't that beautiful? That is magnificent right there. I think it's also awesome. So if you're unable to move containers indoors as a method, because I've got some huge containers too, and they're full of dirt, I don't know how I'd get them in. They're too heavy. So if you're unable to move those containers indoors as a method to protect your plants from frost, then try to protect them from the elements by placing the pots in sheltered areas. In other words, where possible, you could group them together for added protection against the cold in the winter. Also, container plants are more likely to suffer from their roots freezing. To prevent this, what you can do is wrap the containers with bubble wrap. I see, this is the other thing I do. I save, when I order stuff online, I save all the bubble wrap. My greenhouse is just full of bubble wrap. And so I'm going to use that, see, to put around my plants that I can't bring inside because I can't, they're heavy. Probably weigh 60 pounds or more. There's no way I'm going to get them inside. So I'll put my bubble wrapper in it, just like it says here. Let's go ahead and read this, okay? Make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so container plants, wrap the containers with bubble wraps, Amazon, or you can do straw, or you can bury those pots in the ground with just the rim showing. That's a lot of work right there. To benefit the insulating properties of the ground, it's kind of like they're in the ground. Well, they are. The whole pot's in the ground. Also, raise containers using pot feet or by resting them on bricks to allow water to be able to drain away more easily and prevent plants from sitting in icy water. That's what happens to a lot of our plants. We'll put them outside and they're sitting out there. It's rained, it freezes, and then we wonder why we have root rot. It's because they're not draining well. So it's a good idea. Get a couple of blocks, put them on top of that. Put the bubble wrap around it. Again, if it's heavy like what I've got and you just can't do it, then that's going to be a great alternative. Okay, so let's talk about the last one. We've got time. And this is choosing the right plants for your backyard. Is that not a beautiful place right there? It looks like England. England has some beautiful, beautiful garden areas. So rather than trying to protect plants that are not suited to the climate of your backyard, choose the type that are tolerant to frost. And that's going to save you a whole lot of time. Now, what can I do? What can I cover my plants with to prevent frost? Okay, here are some options. You can use straw. You can use bubble wrap. We talked about that just a minute ago. Blankets, bed sheets, towels, newspapers, leaves, and other organic materials. Some of those old grass cuttings that you had. Go ahead and wrap everything around that. And that'll use as a protector as well. The temperatures that you should cover your plants from frost to prevent them will depend on the individual plants, by the way, and the conditions and the position in which they're planted. Now, frost usually occurs at temperatures below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is the point in which you need to protect those plants in the winter. Now, most plants will need protecting from temperatures 30 degrees or lower, but frost tender specimens should be protected before the temperatures dip that low. So here's a question. Can I use plastic bags to cover plants from frost? It's not advisable to use plastic bags to cover from frost. It's because the plastic can damage your plants if it makes contact with foliage, as it holds water against the plant and causes more damage from freezing. Also, it isn't very insulating material, nor is it eco-friendly or a substantial option. So look for alternatives when deciding to protect plants from frost. Make sure it's a breathing type material. Go to Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop, pick up some old white shears and those kinds of materials, and that's going to be exactly what you're looking for, and they're big too, so you don't have to worry about, am I going to have to use two of them? No, you can usually just use one. My name is Donna. Thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You may find us on television, Channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. It's a pleasure talking to you today. If you would like to send an email, you would like for me to cover another topic or do some research for you, I'll be glad to do that. I love doing research. Donna@donnasedge.com. Thank you so much for watching.